the role of organized interest, but especially social networks, whether those are formal, like organized interests, or informal, so just as your networks, your peers, your colleagues, I think they're really at the key of understanding voting behavior in general. We know very well from other research that people are not that rational when it comes to voting. What really gets them to vote is social pressure. You don't want to say I didn't vote, or what gets you to vote is someone whom I know is voting and they have said this and that's interesting and that's what I want to respond to. I agree, I disagree. So there's a lot of we're social citizens, and that translates to the voting process. And I think so if we think that social networks and access to social networks, again, whether formal or informal, is the most relevant factor for getting people to vote, then you start seeing differences why women would, especially in a time of severe gender inequalities, why women would have more of a hard time to access those networks. If it's employment, if it's trade unions, if it's male-dominated organized networks, then women are losing access to those classical channels of mobilization. At the time of women's suffrage across the Western world, most women would basically not work in full-time employment. And this is across classes. Yes, working class women always works, but a lot of that is to supplement the household income. A lot of that happens in local communities on a casual, local, informal basis. So once you look at the official statistics of full-time in employment with independent means, as a result, you start having, on average, let's say third of women in the employment. If it's the employment and the networks and the chats with your colleagues and the trade unions that are mobilizing, you're losing access to that. So the question is, well, what did the women do? How can they overcome kind of this absence through the channels that we normally identify?